Hello crafters, I'm Jan B and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this Eclipse card but without using dimensionals to support the letters. The way that's been done is basically I have layered lots of die cuts on top of each other. That's one reason for doing another Eclipse card, even though there are lots of videos on YouTube showing this technique. But the other thing is I feel that sometimes the word gets lost. So on this one that I made, I highlighted or at least sponged around the edges of the letters using white craft ink, and I think that has brought the name Jack out quite a bit, but without losing the beauty of the Eclipse card. Now today's card I'm going to be doing this one again, but I've got another idea to make the name stand out. Whether it's going to work or not I don't know, but I'm happy to give it a try. So to start off with, the card pieces you're going to need, I'm using fresh fig this time. So you need a card base that measures 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, scored and folded at 4 1/8, which is 21 centimeters by 14.5 centimeters, scored and folded at 10.5 centimeters. Then you need 2 pieces of Whisper White, which measure 4 inches by 5 5/8 inches, which is 10.25 by 14.25 centimeters, and 1 piece of fresh fig that measures 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches, which is 10 by 14 centimeters. And for the layers here, I've used out thick white cardstock, and I've used 8 of each letter there, and that has brought it up the same height that the letters would be had I used our foam strips. Our foam strips are twice the thickness of our dimensionals. So I've calculated that what you would need, I've forgotten to do this in centimetres, but for the Jack that I've done, and I've stuck to that for all of these, it's my grandson, this measures 5 1/2 inches by 2 1/2, so you would need 8 pieces like that. Fortunately I had loads of scraps, so that's what I've done with mine, but that will give you an idea. So 2 1/2 by 5 1/2 times 8 pieces, which, let me see, can I work that out for you? 5 1/2 is 14 centimeters, and 2 1/2 must be about 7, I suppose, about 7 centimeters. So there you go, that gives you an idea on that one. It also depends on if you've got offcuts, if you've got scraps, which letters you're using, how you use them, etc, etc. But that's just a guide. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my top sheet and I'm going to use my Embossing Buddy. The stamp set I'm using, I'm going to use these two, is called Epic Celebrations, and this is one of our celebration stamp sets that you can have free for every £45 or €60 you spend during celebration, which goes on till 31st of March 2018. You could choose this stamp set as one of your free gifts. And with celebration, it's not just if you get an order over £45, it's for every £45 of your order. So if you spent £90, you could choose 2 gifts. £135, you could choose 3 gifts. Or this year, what Stampin' Up have done is they've introduced 2 gifts that are valued at £90, which is €120. So you could choose, for £135, you could choose one £90 and one £45, or you could choose 3 £45. And the choice, the selection is amazing. If you haven't seen the catalogue and you would like a copy, let me know and I'll be more than happy to pop a copy in the post for you. Just email me at janb@janbcards.com. Now first of all, what I'm going to do is for the sentiment, I'm using this one, You're Awesome. I'm going to use the guitar and the headphones. When I did the sneakers, I also went over all the shoelaces and coloured them in with my white gel pen. That's part of the reason why I'm not choosing to do this one today, because it takes too long for a video to do that, but it's worth the effort of doing it. Okay, so that's that. I need my Stamp-a-ma-jig so that I can do my sentiment, but I'm going to do all of this as white embossing, so I need to do my piece of cardstock, wipe it over first with my Embossing Buddy, and then I'm going to place this in the middle. I'm lining my card up so I know that that is in the middle, so that must be, that's right, about there. So just to bring it up a bit, make sure that I'm in camera. There we go. So I want my You're Awesome to be there. And I just need to make sure it's straight, bearing in mind that I am looking at this sideways. See how far I can lean forward. You really don't want to see my head. It looks as if it's going down. Okay, I'm going to go for that. Right, so You're Awesome, and I'm going to ink it up with VersaMark. Right, this one I'm going to do this way round. There we go, does that look straight? I think that's straight enough, yes. Right, I'm just going to wipe this over again because I did touch it with my fingers. So with the guitar, I'm going to do that, let's do it the other way around. I'm just going to do one either side, and then I'll do the headphones. I think it's easier to be able to compare things if I just keep them as close as possible to each other. Fortunately, it takes a little while for VersaMark to dry, so I do have the time to do these various bits of stamping. In fact, no, stick to the way you were. I do like changing things, but it's not going to be much help if I don't let you compare things like for like. There we go. Let's see if that looks fine. Yes, I think that's all right. Okay, let's move these out of the way now. And I'm going to bring my white embossing powder over. There we go. Make sure it gets a really good covering. And I'm going to get my paintbrush, because there's always bits left over. It's normally around the edges. I think I'll just give this a bit of a huff on, just a moment. That's better, that got rid of loads. And also when you're giving it a gentle little brush to get these bits off, don't forget to check the back. Not that it would really matter, but it does mean that if the draft of the heat tool gets it, it will be blowing it all over the place. we go. Just make sure that's all over me rather than my work surface. Right, now I'm going to use my heat tool on this to get the embossing done. Just see a little few stray bits here. That's going to be fine now. Right, I'm going to let my heat tool run for a few seconds first, and then I'm going to come over and start the embossing. It won't take long, but excuse the noise. There we go. So that's fine. Now what we need to do is die cut 8 of all of these letters, which obviously if I had to do that on the video it would take me forever, so I have done all those beforehand. I have also adhered them all together except for the last 2 K's. I thought if I just do those on screen so that you can see how I do it. So I tend to work with the letter upside down, and I use Tombow. So I need to put those 2 on. Right, that's okay. And then what I do with my Tombow is I gently squeeze, but I work in a circular motion because that way I feel that I get a good coverage all over. Oops. Okay, and then pop the next one on. Oops, get off. Pop the next one on and just make sure it all lines up nice and straight. Give it a little bit of a press to make sure it stays. But as you know with Tombow you do have a little bit of time to move that into place. Okay, then you just do the next one and you just keep on going until you've done all of them. If you find that some of these are quite hairy, what I did with mine was after I'd put them all together I went over with a nail file and I just gave them a quick little file on the bits that I could reach. Okay, it's a bit sticky there but it doesn't matter, it's going to be covered up. Okay, so that's all you do to make your letters. So let's move those out of the way. What I need to do next is cut the letters out of here, and the letters I'm using are from our Big Letters Framelits, which are all of these, 37 dies altogether, and this is what I'm offering as a prize in a free prize draw during the month of January for everybody who enters in, for everybody who shops in my online store during January. Their name will go in for a draw to win the set of dies and also the stamp set that goes with this. So what I'm going to do first, as you know, I do struggle with straight lines, so I'm going to draw some pencil lines on here, and I am going to draw, first of all, this is going to be 7/8 of an inch down. Don't know if you can see that. And then I'm going to move along and 7/8 inches. And depending on where I've done my stamping, yep, I can still get 7/8. All of these will be fine to erase afterwards. They won't be cut. Okay, so there's that one, and I'll do one more here. And then the other measurement I do is I like to measure in 3/8 of an inch so that I know where the outside of my letters should come. Now for this one I'm going to come down low because it's going to be the J. So 3/8 is there, so I don't need to go up or down a bit. I think I'll go up because the letter heights are 2 1/8 inches. So that's where the outside of the J goes, the furthest point over. And then here we've got K, so measure 3/8 of an inch in there as well. So that's going to be the edge of my K. So I'm just going to get my Big Shot up. This is where it's a real blessing to have a magnetic platform. So what I'm going to do, I'll place it on there. In fact, I think what I'll do is I'll move that out of the way first so that I can have the plate closer to me. Right, still in camera there, so that's okay. And that one. So where's my letters? Here they go. Right, so we'll do J first. Now I know there's my 3/8 of an inch there, and that's my 7/8 there. So that looks about right. I'm not going to be overly fussy about this. They are guidelines for me. So that's about the height of the K. Now I just need to put the A and C in the middle. And then just make sure that I've got approximately the same amount of gap between all of them. Make sure it's straight. That C's leaning backwards. So I'm just going to tip this up so that I can look at it like this. Now that's not very straight, is it? Which one's wrong? I think the C and the K is okay. I think it's the A, isn't it? I think the A needs to come down a bit. So does the J need to come down? No, that's coming down too far. Let's line it all up with the J. I feel happy with that way. So let's push the C up a bit. And push the K up a bit. That looks better, I think. Let's go for that. Alright, let's come back into shot again. So without knocking those or letting them move, just crank those through. Right. So first of all the K. Now when you remove these, do be careful, especially something like the K, because it's got two little bits that stick up there, and the last thing you need is to be pulling those off. Okay, so that's that one. The C is normally quite straightforward. The J is also quite straightforward. With the A, and also letters like D and B, anything that's got a complete hole in the complete cutout in the centre, you need to save that bit. Okay, so because I need that to go back into the A. Did I go off shot there? Move over a bit. Okay, so there we go. So that's the triangle for it, and this is my main sheet. So let's pop this back. Move that out of the way. And now we can start putting everything together. So I'm going to use Tombow, but at this stage you could use something like fast fuse or tear and tape. Don't know if that's got all clogged up. Let's have a look. If I don't clear it, it's eventually going to absolutely just spit out a big blob, and that's the last thing that I want. So let's just remove this little kind of plug thing. Oh, that's it. Right, use a bit of kitchen towel here. Okay, that should be okay now. Now that one's come out a bit thick, so I'm going to use that one for the front of the card. There we go, that's good. So let's put this one on the inside. And let's hope that Tombow's coming out a bit slower now. That's better. Much, much better. Okay. So this one, I now need to put this on there. Although it's quite time consuming doing the letters, especially when if you decide to do the 8 layers like I have, and it was the thick white cardstock I used, it's quite relaxing to do it, and it's not as fiddly. When you're putting your card together, it's not as fiddly as using the dimensionals, or at least I don't think so. Now, pay attention to those two pieces there. Don't do what I did, which was first time I tried to, when I stuck them on here, I tried to make them go straight. They're not meant to be straight. All right. Oh, I haven't done my pencil marks. I think that's okay. Is that straight? Yep. Okay, let me just erase these marks on here. See, none of them were, oops! That was a quick escape, wasn't it? What was I saying? None of the pencil marks are anywhere where they're not able to be erased. And there was one down here for the J. Now the next thing we need to do, the A doesn't look very straight. We need to get the centre of the A in there, and the way I do that is to put it back into position, put some glue on this one, pop it back, and then lift the A back out again without knocking this out of its position. Okay, so that's the easy bit. Now the not so easy bit is to get that, oh, maybe it is quite easy. Well, it was this time. Previously I've knocked that piece sideways. So, in fact, look, I've got hairy bits on here now as well. This is just an ordinary toothbrush that I'm using. Get rid of all those, don't like those. Right, I definitely think that A is crooked. Right, so what we do now is we put these on top of our letters, these ones here. Nothing special about this. Again, I'd like to putting my Tombow on by doing circular movements, giving a gentle squeeze, and I feel at least doing it like this, I get glue over nearly all of the piece that I'm adhering on top of it. Okay, so you just fit that on in exactly the same way as you will have been layering all the letters together. So here's the C. Oops. A little bit of glue there. Okay, so that's that one. J. Like that one, and that's it, that's the way. There we go. So let's move that out of the way now. So, oh no, because I've still got to put glue on. And you'll find that these letters will just slot back into there really nice and easily. Okay. So all we need to do now is put some glue on those and they're stuck. But as you can see, they're not very obvious in there, and that's part of the exercise for me on this card, to see what else I could do to make the letters pop a bit. I'm certainly happy with the idea of the white, sponging it with the white. I think that's worked nicely. Actually, another idea I've just thought of is using our fine tip glue pen and letting it dry shiny. Well, that's not the one that I'm going to do here, but what I might do that on the blue one and then post photographs on my blog tomorrow. So at least you can see what the outcome of it is. Feels like I'm doing a jigsaw puzzle. Whoops. Right, now, because the letters don't stand out a huge amount, it doesn't really look like the A is crooked. But this is what I'm going to use for this, the letters on here. This is my Wink of Stella pen. Don't undo it. And I'm just going to paint over the letters because it makes it come up a little bit darker. But if it's going, I don't know until I've done it whether it's going to spoil the overall effect. So let's do it for this side. So you can get a view of it already to see what it's looking like. I'm too close to it. So I wonder what you're thinking. Are you thinking, no Jan, you've spoilt it now? Or, well, that's a good idea. Just one more. Or another idea, would that work? I don't know. Round the letters on the sheet underneath there, you get the impression of the framelit, and I wonder if faux stitches round there would look nice, or whether that would just encroach on the image that's been embossed there. Okay, so what does that look like? It makes it look more obvious, doesn't it? What I need is to put these cards up on the side and let them sit there for a while, so just keep looking at them and see what I think. But there you go, that's my project for today, and have a look on my blog tomorrow at this one, the blue one, because I'm going to go over the letters with my fine tip glue pen, and what will happen is it will just make it all very, very glazed. But I'm certainly very, very pleased with this one. Really, really like this. So there we go. That's today's project. Hope you like it and hope you give it a try. If you would like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, please click in the box below and there'll be a link in there for my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. And don't forget, if you do shop in with me during January 2018, your name will go in for a prize draw to win these large letter framelits. And the way I'm working it is everybody who shops in my store gets one entry, and then you get an extra entry for one extra entry for every £50 of your order. And if you put in more than one order during the month, the amount is accumulative. It's not per order. So there we go. That's hopefully something of interest for you. If you have any questions or any comments, please leave those in the comments box below. I'm always happy to help you out, and I always like reading your feedback too. In the box below, I will also put all the measurements and the products that I've used. And finally, if you've enjoyed my video and would like to be notified each time I upload a new one, which is normally Wednesdays and Sundays, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the meantime, many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.